Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk 1050 WTKA The Ticket, 102.9 W4 Country, and Ticket TV for the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff. We're presented by Brighton Ford, and it is great to literally see my man Sam Webb to my right and literally see my man Steve Clarke to my left. Our desk is a little bit separated to create a little separation here inside our Cumulus Ann Arbor building. But Sam, I haven't seen you face to face outside of you doing a drive-by for my daughter's birthday. I haven't seen you face to face in 6 months. Good morning. Happy Sunday. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's a little bit different because normally when we do the countdown to kickoff, Steve and I are switched around a little bit, but that's fine because this way, when I yell about my Lions and, I have all these spastic actions, people won't see me as they walk. Well, we won't have people walking by the window anyway, but still, I'm a little more demonstrative when it comes to the Honolulu blue and silver because I'm allowed to be. It's not ordinarily the job, so I can let the passions bleed through. Steve Clarke.
Well, Sam, it's a good thing you're sitting on the other side because maybe you'll do better in the pick segments that's coming up later this hour. So
he's up 1-0 on you.
It's great to see you, both of you, live and in person, and welcoming all the people who are watching us here on YouTube and the WTKAticket.com.
Very cool that people can watch us. I'm really excited about this. Also excited just to get you guys together to talk some football. We're used to talking football every Saturday in the fall. We don't have that opportunity right now. Maybe that news will change in the next few days and we could have that conversation down the line. But it's fun to get you guys together to talk some football. In this case, it is about the Detroit Lions. They open their season today against the Chicago Bears, 1:00 at a fanless Ford Field, which in itself is going to be a really unique thing to see on TV. But I know, Sam, you were really excited to see the NFL back on Thursday night. And I know you're really excited to have your Lions back today because on day one, everybody is right there. And if you get off to a good start, right? Get off to a good start.
Yeah, man. It's sort of like playing Michael Jordan, right? When the game tips off, you're even, and then they play the game.
But you're playing the Bears today, and Mitch Trubisky.
But Mitch against the Lions, Mitch Trubisky is like Michael Jordan for some reason. It's the only team in the NFL. It is my contention that he made the Pro Bowl based on his performances against the Lions. After he plays the Lions, he goes back to sucking again. We can hope that finally the Lions receive the treatment that the rest of the NFL has received when they played Mitch Trubisky. Now, it happens to be the case that my biggest questions about this team this year come on the defensive side of the football. So he might look good today. Time will tell, but fortunately for the Lions, they should be loaded on offense this year.
And we're going to talk about what the Lions look like on offense and how that matches up against the Bears on defense and vice versa when the Bears are on offense. For the Lions defense, it's a good day to start with the Bears as opposed to saying next week's opponent with the Packers. A good way to ease in when it's Mitch Trubisky. But a lot of storylines, Steve Clarke, from the offseason, starting with the Lions. And obviously, offseasons always revolve mostly around the changing of players, who's coming and who's going. And with the draft, started up top with a Ohio State cornerback that was terrific for the Buckeyes, but Lions draft, and that's how we get started here and looking at the storylines from the offseason.
Well, I mean, it's a little distressing right away that the overall number 3 pick in this year's draft might not even be the number 3 corner at this point in the season. You got Penn State's Amani Oruwariye could be ahead.
That was impressive.
Thank you.
He's been practicing for days.
He could actually be ahead of Jeff Okudah at this point, and both of those guys aren't slated to start. So, right now, Okudah may be the number 4 corner. That doesn't necessarily mean that Okudah is already a bust as a draft pick. It's just, it's been clear since the very beginning, if you've been following along in the summer, that Okudah, has had his ups and downs, and they're going to be patient and take his time with them. Unfortunately for the Chicago Bears side, their number 1 pick, not their number 1 pick, but their number 1 corner was their second-round draft pick in this year's draft, and he's starting. So that's not exactly a great thing. But you have that. On the good news side, though, is another Ohio State product, Jonah Jackson, was another Buckeye, and he's expected to start at right guard today. So that is good news. And in fact, Sam, he may be the only Lions 2020 draft pick to earn a start this early in the season.
Yeah, a lot on the shoulders of a Jeff Okudah. It was good to see the Lions. They've invested so much time, energy, effort, draft picks, free agency money on putting weapons around Matthew Stafford. We have seen them spend a high draft pick or two here in recent years on the defensive side of the football. They had to address corner. When you look at how things disintegrated last year with Darius Slay. They trade away Quandre Diggs. It felt like to me, and I said this earlier in the week, it felt like when they traded Quandre Diggs that Darius Slay, who had already been sour on Matt Patricia, felt like he had been disrespected in the offseason. And you start to see it bleed over in his demeanor on the football field. When they traded away Quandre Diggs, the captain, it seemed to cause him to check out. So there are a lot of fans that felt like, this is still something that you try to salvage. Darius Slay is one of the best corners in the NFL. If he wasn't living up to that billing, it was because he was mentally checked out. If you can get things together from a relationship standpoint, maybe you can get him back to playing at a top 5, top 10 level. Lions said no. They didn't feel like he was worth that investment. They were able to move him and get some capital back for him. But Jeff Okudah comes in, a tremendous, tremendous athlete. I remember going to see Jeff Okudah in high school, went down to Dallas to one of those Michigan satellite camps. And Jeff Okudah was there. Of course, he didn't wind up going to Michigan. He winds up going to Ohio State, where he has a stellar career. But a guy he has tremendous quickness. He has really good speed. Wasn't the fastest corner in there. He's a legit mid 4.4 to 4.5 guy. But he plays the other part of the game, Steve. And that's the part where you look at some NFL corners especially, and they don't want to tackle. Jeff Okudah will tackle. So, and then you put a veteran in Trufant on the other side. The problem I have with that pickup is the Falcons were like last in the league in pass defense or close to it last year. So you wonder how much Trufant has left in the tank. But this is a corner tandem that if you give them some pass rush, big if, then they should be okay.
Confidence is going to be key for him. Just kind of gelling with the new team, probably a different type of system and way of playing defense. I mean, he could have played with utmost confidence in the Ohio State system. And, look, for him, it's just taking a little bit longer than what others expect. Again, don't label him a bust right away, but it is a little bit concerning that he may not even be in the top 3.
Obviously, guys, there are 2 ways to acquire players during the offseason: the draft, which we just talked about a little bit, and that'll continue to feed into our storylines about the Lions all season, how these draft picks continue to increase in their roles of the team, but free agency as well. And the biggest name in free agency, Sam, is actually the guy that was the most recent addition to the team. And it may not be Adrian Peterson from, a decade ago, but it's still Adrian Peterson, who was quite productive in Washington last year and should be able to provide a lot for this team.
Yeah, man, who hasn't been watching AP forever? He is a Lion slayer. He's been a devastating guy going back to his Vikings days against the Leos. Watching him in high school, saw him in the Army All-American game in 2004. You could see then that he was going to be special. Just a guy that brings you size, but has great speed, power. He's a guy who can avoid contact, but won't. That was one of the things that really endeared him. And then it may be one of the most superhuman feats I've ever seen from an NFL player. How long did it take him to come back from an ACL injury? Like 2 weeks, and he was back. It just came back and was tremendous. And you think about what Adrian Peterson is at this stage of his career, in mid-30s. It's a testament to what a physical specimen that he is, that he can still be this good, where most guys are probably retired by this point. He's been through an ACL, a reconstruction, and he's still going strong. He's not going to be expected to be the bell cow for this Lions attack. Short yardage guy. We've seen the Lions have problems in short yardage. He still averages 4 yards a carry at this stage of his career. He may not go 80, but he still has enough juice to get you 40 or 50 on a jaunt. And then at the same time, maybe in his biggest role on this team, Steve Clarke, you got DeAndre Swift as a rookie. You got Kerryon Johnson as a guy in the early stages of his career. Who better than Adrian Peterson, one of the all-time greats, to bring those guys along?
Well, I think, the big question with Adrian Peterson is how much is there left? And a member of the Washington Redskins in 2018, he had over 1,000 yards rushing. That's pretty darn good. In 2019, he had nearly 900 yards rushing. That's pretty darn good. So I don't think they got a guy who's on his last tread or, somebody's going to be able to fill in for a couple of weeks. You look at the Lions running back situation and the way that they drafted 2 running backs in this year's NFL draft, cut the other one, by the way, Jason Huntley, a 5th rounder. they needed some depth at running back, because although Kerryon Johnson is a pretty decent running back in this league, he's not on the field a whole heck of a lot. And they drafted DeAndre Swift early in the second round to compensate for that as well. Unfortunately, he spent most of his summer not practicing either. So the Lions still found themselves in the same type of hole that they were going in to the draft and from last season. So what do? You pick up Adrian Peterson. And I don't think this is a bad move at all. I think it's a good move. And you've got 3 good running backs that are going to be able to do some damage for the Lions. I just happen to think only 2 of the 3 guys are going to be practicing at the same time, because one of those 3 guys is probably going to be hurt. So I think this is a good idea to pick up all 3 of these guys. I mean, it didn't seem to cost the Lions an arm and a leg to get AP in this type of situation. I think you got 3 good backs with a couple potentials in there as well. So good move for them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at him being let go by the Redskins. This is totally a system thing. It's not like they didn't need him. Geis is, who knows if Geis will ever be in the NFL again.
It's
probably
purely
not.
a system. Talking to my people in DC, because you think about what the Panthers' offenses look like recently with Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, Adrian Peterson doesn't provide that skill set. He's still has some great skills, but he's not the receiver, multi-dimensional threat that Christian McCaffrey is. And that's what they've got a few different guys in DC that they're trying to put into that role. And so he became expendable. But if you know one thing about the NFL, while the running back position has been devalued, you still need a good running game. And to carry 3 or 4 running backs that can help is the way to go. And so I like the addition. I'm looking forward to seeing how the other part of that you're talking about, the mentorship part of this young stable of backs should help them. And then maybe the biggest questions, Sam and Steve, going into year 3 of Matt Patricia. I mean, this is, do we call it the make or break year?
Absolutely.
But it seems to be that we're in a pretty big spot right now, that this coaching staff, Steve, has a lot to show this year, and really not just coaching, but management in general.
There is a lot of miscontent from Lions fans about how last year went. And they were done with Matt Patricia, as it is every year. Yeah, that's not a big headline, but I mean, they were ready to with the the torches and the pitchforks to come down to Ford Field and get something else done. And Martha Ford comes out in the offseason and says, "Look, we hear you, and we demand better." And basically, kind of said that this year or not, and get it done. And what happened after that, as a result of that, is you can't draft a guy like Tua, because it'd be like wasting a first-round pick trying to groom him, and this regime would not even be there to see the fruits of doing that. So a lot of things now have to be done in the here and now. The Lions offense is closer to being complete. So they drafted that way so that one half of the team could be respectable. But the Lions, to me, are still about offense and trying to solve problems on defense. There's a potential on defense this year, one player at a time, Sam.
Matt Patricia is like the deadbeat boyfriend. The Lions were doing okay. They were doing okay. Maybe they were doing bad at times, but they could do bad by themselves, Steve Clarke. They didn't need Matt Patricia to come in and drag them down the way that he has. Lions were a middle of the road team, a playoff team before he got here. He was going to take them to the next level, especially take the defense to the next level. Matt Patricia has been terrible. And not only that, he comes in and he alienates, one of the top 3 players on the roster, talking about how soft he is, how I can't even use the words that Matt Patricia allegedly used in practice against Darius Slay. How are you going to talk bad about one of your best guys? Can you imagine if the players unleashed their true opinions of Matt Patricia on Matt Patricia during one of these meetings? But he took those kinds of liberties. When you talk that kind of smack, you have that kind of stature where you feel like you can cast these guys off. You better win. And he said he went to get some Patriots. Bob Quinn went to get some Patriots. We'll see if we can finally start looking like the Patriots. We get the Patriots cast-offs, Ira. We get the dirty socks. We get the used underwear from the Patriots. We don't get the good stuff. We finally want some of the good stuff now.
Speaking of the Patriots, maybe the biggest storyline in the league in the offseason is that the best quarterback in the history of the league went from the New England Patriots to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Sam. And that obviously major news there, and also major news in New England, because they're now turning to Cam Newton to keep their streaks alive.
Is that even a surprise, though? They made it seem like it was this real. Come on, man. You're going to sign Cam Newton and put him on the bench. Not even Bill Belichick would do that. Come on, man. I'm not buying it.
I'm not buying it either. You have to remember, though, Cam wasn't wanted. by the NFL. You know, in this long COVID season, you forget about some of these storylines that were going on in March and April. Was that, Cam Newton was available and nobody was interested. And finally, I mean, I'm sure New England probably felt they went through options 3 or 4, wasn't working out, and they took Cam Newton. I still like Cam Newton. I still like Bill Belichick. But there is a dramatic slide potentially going on between the New England Patriots before Tom Brady and then after Tom Brady. I mean, that's one of the more curious things that I'm thinking about during this season is how big a slide is it going to be, or will there be not much of a slide because Bill Belichick is one of the best in the NFL ever at coaching the game. You have to think, Sam, the style of 2 quarterbacks. So Cam Newton's not really the running quarterback that he used to be anymore. That Bill Belichick, without Tom Brady, probably's got some plays that he never thought he would ever use or open up in the Tom Brady playbook that he's going, wow, I can dust the cobwebs off this one and see what Cam Newton can do.
Let's see, Bill. You haven't had any success without Tom Brady. Any major success without Tom Brady. And so I want to see if he is really as good as we think he, at least he, got all those Super Bowls. You're supposed to be pretty good. When you look at the aftermath of that, where or how each guy wound up, who's more likely to have success in their current situation? I'd argue Tom Brady. You look at what's around Tom Brady right now. Tom Brady has maybe the best receiving core he's had in his career. That's even including 2007 when they had Randy Moss. You got Mike Evans. You got Chris Godwin. You look at tight end. You don't have Gronk of his prime, but you have Gronk light. But if you throw O.J. Howard on the other side, who, guys, I've been talking about O.J. Howard for years.
When he was playing college.
In high school, I was talking about O.J. Howard being one of the best athletes I've ever seen at the tight end position. He had to play with Jameis Winston. Steve, you could throw a football better than Jameis Winston. So we can't hold the last few years against O.J. Howard. When you got to play with Florida Evans at quarterback. Now finally he has a quarterback that can throw him the football. You throw Leonard Fournette behind him. You have Shady McCoy as well. Tom Brady landed on his feet. Finally, Tom Brady doesn't have to elevate everyone around him. Whereas you look at Cam Newton, that's what he's going to be charged with doing. Can Bill Belichick have a potent offense with Cam Newton doing what he asked Tom Brady to do for years? Make everyone around you better. Because I'm looking around that Patriots offense, and I'm just not seeing, all pro, just, best in the game at his position. I'm not seeing that guy around Cam Newton like I'm seeing around Tom Brady down in Tampa Bay, or at least potentially around Tom Brady down in Tampa Bay.
One of the great lines I heard over the summer was somebody asked about somebody else, and they said, he's like Belichick. And the other guy responded, says, Belichick in New England or Belichick in Cleveland? And we might have to ask the same question about Belichick now. Will he still remain Belichick in New England? Or after Tom Brady is left and a number of New England players leaving on defense and a number of players leaving New England because of COVID and they're opting out, whether he becomes Belichick of Cleveland again?
We have a lot still to come on the show, including what's coming up next. Pick the winners pro football style. Sam Webb is going to make some picks. Steve Clarke's going to make some picks. We're going to bring our friend Madison Rally in to make some picks as well. 2 of the 3 are 1-0. One of you is 0-1 after the first game. We'll get to that next here on the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA The Ticket, 102.9 W4 Country, and Ticket TV. Thank you, Miss.
So are our mics muted at this point?
Oh, people can hear us. Hi, everybody. If you're watching on our stream, how's everybody doing?
This is the best part of the show when we actually say what we really feel during the breaks.
That's a little too much.
So,
yeah, that'd be great.
I know we're behind schedule.
No, we're fine.
But we could keep sliding this back a little bit. I mean, we don't have to talk about offense-defense matchups for 20 minutes, do we? Yeah, we could just continue to slide. This is good.
Yeah, because that allows me to scroll through those comments.
What's up?
Thank you, Tom. You're right. You picked up on that Florida Evans one. That's funny.
Good times.
That's funny. Good morning, Matt. Great to see you too. It's fun being on TV a little bit, but I'm glad that we have a chance to communicate with all of you guys on a weekend.
Occasionally you see
guys and gals.
See Sam's hand coming you know.
Does it reach?
You were definitely in a screenshot, Sam. You know.
I'm sorry.
No,
It's
don't
okay.
be sorry.
I love Sunday.
This
Sunday
is fun.
Sam is like Saturday Sam. While I mean, you guys know that he gets a little unhinged in the tent at times against certain opponents in particular, but he's still very professional. For those that have never seen Sam in a press box, Sam is very professional.
Yeah,
but
I'm scripted.
he doesn't have to be. Well, first of all, we're in our building right now.
Yeah,
and we're talking Lions,
and we're talking Lions. So Sam's
It's
not
different.
professionally, working the game. So yeah, it's great.
So again, if for every Lions loss, do we have to do a shot?
Oh, and everybody, hi Gracie. Everybody can wave and say hi to
Grace.
Gracie.
Hey,
Hi
Grace.
Grace. So it's fun.
December could be a really fun show if we did it that way.
Well, I'm hoping in.
You can't say that. You can't say that, Ira.
I better pay attention to my picture of Miz here, so I know when we're coming back. Our Saints fan in the studio in his Reggie Bush Saints jersey. Don't get a Kamara because apparently he won't be there long. I'm just going to anger Miz. I could talk to him, and he can't really shoot back. Although he can go on the air and talk back, but he can't. He can't get mad about his Saints. They got a big game coming up today.
Oh, 4 o'clock.
Yep, they got a big game today.
Stop what I'm doing to watch
It's the
that
first
one.
time Tom Brady's been an underdog in, I can't remember how many games.
75.
Is that what it is?
75 regular season games.
Oh, Kamara got a new deal, so never mind. He's not getting traded. Thanks, Miz. Miz and I were talking about, was it 2 weeks ago now? That maybe there was a rumor that he might be on a block, and I was like, what are you? Yeah, and Matt just chimed in too.
I'm not hearing Miz, so but yeah.
So Matt, you're right. I didn't see that he got the contract. It's been a long week. But Matt, to answer your other question, I am really excited about my team this year, the Ravens. And I am going into Sam Webb's bag of tricks with J.K. Dobbins. And the way he treated Chris Spielman is how I will treat J.K. Dobbins. And but they have a great running back stable.
Doug, I'm right there with you, man. Undefeated. And you know what? Oh, I can't even.
He said they're present, Sam.
I know. I mean, we might even be able to enjoy that for maybe a week.
I think you will.
Maybe
for a
a
week.
week.
I think you will for a week.
You see Doug Adams's comment here on Twitter. Lions are presently undefeated. Another one bites the dust 2020. The last Lions piece of paraphernalia I ever wore was 1980. They played another one bites the dust theme song. They were 4-0, and I had a Bubba Baker number 60 shirt.
And I had a Silver Rush sweatshirt. See, that's how far back. Silver Rush. And, it was my mom who told me, and I must have had that shirt when the Silver Rush was no longer around. I was still wearing it. And I remember crying after the Lions losing the game to the Green Bay Packers when the Green Bay Packers sucked. It was like, why are we losing to the Packers? She said, why are you crying? I said, the Lions just lost. She said, you're going to be crying the rest of your life. And so, and that's coming from my mom. Who, after Michigan, I didn't even think she paid attention to sports.
She knows.
She paid attention to the Lions. And then, of course, we got Barry Sanders, and he made me believe when maybe I shouldn't have. Although I will say, and you Lions fans know this, we were a paralyzation, a guy getting hit by a Mack truck in the front yard.
You're done.
Welcome back to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA The Ticket on 102.9 W4 Country and also on the Ticket TV. And if you want to go to WTKA.com/countdown to watch us that way, you have a chance to get a sweet auto detailing from our friends at Brighton Ford. It's a $200 or so value on a great detailing. And so listening right here or watching right here on Ticket TV. But you can also watch on Facebook. You can watch on YouTube. But if you go to WTKA.com/countdown, you have a chance to win that great auto detailing. Guys, it is great to be here with you talking some football. And it is now time for our pick segment. And so we actually did the first picks. They were off the air.
Mm-hmm.
And the first picks were from the Houston-Kansas City game. I'm kind of curious, Steve.
What were you thinking?
There's the question. As he took Houston +9.
What was I thinking?
What were you thinking,
I
man?
thought Houston would cover.
Why? Why? When, and Ira says this, let me give you a ton of credit, Ira, because you talk about Bill O'Brien being the worst GM in football. How do you give away? You gave away essentially your best player, one of the top 3 receivers in all of football, as far as I'm concerned. A guy who, if you're Deshaun Watson, this was the guy who eased your transition to the NFL. Throw it up to DeAndre Hopkins. That's all you had to do on some of those plays. He is amazing when it comes to contested catches. He can run by you. He can make plays in the open field. And that's the guy you let go. And so, Steve, in the first game, without DeAndre Hopkins, with Brandon Cooks and Randall Cobb, I mean, I understand. Look, David, maybe the running back position will have a boost, but they're playing against the defending Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, this is already going to be a long segment.
It's gonna be a long segment, man. I don't know what you were looking at.
We've got 15
What
more
made
games
you
to go,
think-
and
what made
we're
you
talking
think-
about a game that already happened.
What made you think the Texans were going to be able to score with the Chiefs?
The money line research basically said go with Houston, so I did.
Well, it's okay because you had a lot of games to pick. You're probably going to catch up. Let's roll through these games, and we'll start with you, Sam Webb, the game that I care most about today. Cleveland at Baltimore. The Ravens are -8.
Cleveland about. So here's the thing, and mark my words on this because I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens to cover. The receiver position for the Baltimore Ravens, to me, hasn't necessarily been what the most potent attack. Or
That's not just to you, Sam.
And so they've been looking for maybe a playmaker on the perimeter. So, Ira, who have I been talking about for months now?
Yeah, Duvernay.
Yes, Devin Duvernay. Remember the name, Texas standout receiver. And I just spent some time talking about how I'm not saying the kid is going to be DeAndre Hopkins, all right? But watching him at Texas, he is a legit 4-3 guy, but amazing ability to, when the ball is in the air, create separation, making contested catches. The irony of that is one of the knocks that I read during the draft was he's not good in contested catches. Like, what the hell? What were you watching? I'm watching this kid. He was tremendous. Now you got a deep downfield threat for Lamar Jackson to be able to throw to. I think, and then you look at the backfield, the running back contingent, which you talked about. You got J.K. Dobbins in there going along with Flint Town in the backfield. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be a more potent offensive attack this year. I think they're going to cover. I think their defense is always really, really good as well. I got the Ravens winning this game and covering.
Well, I think the Browns offense has a chance to be a lot better than they were last year. New coaching staff, a lot better reviews. Baker Mayfield has tools to work with, including Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, receiver, as well as Nick Chubb, by the way, the league's second leading rusher.
Donovan Peoples-Jones. Come on, Steve.
He's third on the. He's listed as the third guy right now.
I know that. I'm just talking about established guys in the NFL and tools to work with. All right, you got Nick Chubb, also the league's second leading rusher last year. That is
Steve does not like you. He thinks you
that
suck. He didn't even mention you.
That is fine.
It's okay.
I'm just saying.
Sam, he's about to have his last segment on the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff because he's about to pick against my team.
Roz Peoples is my friend on Twitter. He didn't even mention your son in the segment, Roz. I'm just saying.
Sunday morning suits you, Sam. I gotta tell you. Nick Chubb is the second leading rusher in the NFL last year, nearly 1,500 yards. They got Kareem Hunt as a backup. I'm picking Baltimore to win, but I'm picking Cleveland to cover.
Man, can
-8.
Can Kareem Hunt stay out of jail? Can he actually be in the game, Steve? Can we count on Kareem Hunt not catching a case before the game? I'm just saying. I'm going with the Ravens covering. Ira, we're friends for a week at least.
There you go, Steve. I'm not talking to you. Madison, who you got?
I gotta get myself.
There we
Hi,
go.
guys.
Hey.
Thanks for inviting me in. Normally I'm just on the sidelines producing. I'm part of the game today. I like it. I am gonna. I think it's gonna be the Ravens by a little bit, actually. At least one touchdown, maybe.
There you go. There you go, Steve Clarke. Two smart people
Steve,
on my
what
set.
Are you thinking, Steve?
What am
What
I
are you
thinking?
thinking?
Here's what I'm thinking. Who did Madison pick? Because the line is 8.
Here's all I know. I know I was.
He's taking Baltimore, giving the 8.
I was at the MDN one week, and I was, I'm doing some Christmas shopping, and Roz Peoples was next to me. She said, "Sam, you need an MDN gift card." I mean, just generous, because she knows how much we love Michigan. If she knew how much Steve Clarke hates her son,
that's not.
I
nice.
wouldn't even gotten out those MDN gift cards that day, Steve.
That's not nice.
That's just there. What have you done for me lately?
Sam,
wait,
Sam,
you
show
have-
your hands
You
for a
have
minute.
Janet Jackson playing in the background, don't you? What have you done for me lately?
Sam,
Now that Donovan Peoples-Jones is not with the Wolverines anymore, he sucks. He's dirty. He's pond scum to you.
I object.
Terrible, Steve.
I have to-
Terrible.
that's objection. That is misleading, and I need a ruling on it. Sam, show me your hands. Show
my
me your hands
hands
for a
right
minute.
here. Here's my hand.
Apparently, the gloves are off when it comes to this pick segment.
So here we go to the next game. I'm gonna let Sam start with this one because another team that he's gonna have nothing nice to say about. Green Bay at Minnesota. Minnesota's a 2.5 point favorite in the Twin Cities.
Green Bay looks like stomach bile on the football field. I've hated the Green Bay Packers my entire life. The Green Bay Packers have no redeeming qualities, Steve Clarke. But I will say this. Aaron Rodgers for over a decade has been one of the best quarterbacks, one of the top 2-3 quarterbacks in the league. But I look at the Minnesota Vikings, and Ira, and this is not just today, right? Haven't I been talking about the Minnesota Vikings?
You have.
The Minnesota Vikings, the moves that they made in the offseason, I think they were one of the better teams in the NFL. You consider that they traded away Stephon Diggs, fine, but Adam Thielen is legit number one. I like what they did in the draft with Justin Jefferson. Maybe we just see more Irv Smith, but they went and they paid Dalvin Cook. Pay that man because he was tremendous last year. But you look on the other side of the football, and they traded for Yannick Ngakoue. See, Steve, I can say one of those names too. Yannick Ngakoue. Now, Yannick Ngakoue he's just one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. The Green Bay Packers, they might have been held below 10 points if you had Danielle Hunter on the other side. Danielle Hunter is out this week. Another one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. But how about this, Steve? Here I go with another name. Afadi Odenibo on the other side of Yannick Ngakoue this week. They are going to still be able to have a really potent pass rush. I got the Minnesota Vikings coming out on top. What's the line in this game?
2.5.
Yeah, I got them covered.
I know Aaron Rodgers is extremely motivated to play his best football this year. Last year was not a good numbers year for him. But Minnesota should be the best in the division. I think they're going to win the division. We'll talk about more of that later on in the program. So they have to beat the Packers at home, right? I mean, if you're going to win the division, you got to be able to beat the Packers at home, and at least by a field goal, right? Taking the Vikings.
Madison.
I absolutely can't stand the Packers.
Thank you. See? We hate the Packers around here.
Sorry to my wife.
So
who's a
yeah,
huge Packer
sorry.
fan.
I know that's not going to be a popular opinion in your home, but I definitely have to go with the Vikings.
That's totally fine. I'm going to start with Madison on this
Think
one.
about this.
Seattle at Atlanta.
We got to pause for a second on the Packers.
Oh, my God.
Think about what goes on collectively in Lambeau Field on a weekly basis. 80,000 constipated people. You wonder why? They're always up. They're always cheering. It's all that damn cheese they eat, Steve. They can't sit down. That's why. And there's nothing to be happy about, nothing to celebrate. I don't the monsters of the Midway, Vince Lombardi, my ass. I don't give a damn about the Packers.
Well, you just mentioned that was only one of the best game day experiences in the NFL. But other than that,
all that damn. Wait till they go home. Yeah, you want it. I bet you don't want to be around them when they got not you, Ira. I know you guys don't load up on the cheese in the Weintraub household. I understand that. Everywhere else in Green Bay Packer land, though.
Madison, Seattle at Atlanta. Atlanta is a 1 point underdog. 1 point underdog at home.
I think this is going to be a close game, but I'm going to pick Seattle.
See, Lions fan there. Lions fan. But I'm agreeing with you, though. Go ahead, Steve.
The spread keeps shifting more to Seattle as the week goes by. Todd Gurley's getting new life in Atlanta after disappearing from LA. And this is a stat from ESPN. Matt Ryan is 12-5 against the spread in his career as a home underdog. I'm taking the Falcons in this one.
Look, Seattle Seahawks had a tremendous offseason. I think they overpaid for Jamal Adams, but they had to address that secondary. And wasn't it Matt Schaub who threw for all those yards against the against the Seahawks last year. Hey, look, you look at that secondary. If Matt Schaub can go off on you, you got problems. But you come back this year, you address the issues in the secondary on one side of the field. On the Falcons side of the field, they didn't. Oh, well, I guess you could say they let those guys go. They let Trufant go to the Lions, who was terrible with the Falcons last year. And so maybe it's addition by subtraction, but look for Tyler Lockett, look for DK Metcalf, both to have field days today against the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. They're going to win this one, and I think they're going to win it easily.
All right, Steve Clarke, the Jets at the Bills. The Bills are nearly a touchdown favorite home. 6.5 points is the line.
Yeah, so there's another game I like to play. It's the survivor pool. And essentially you pick one NFL team to win outright, not even done by a spread. You can't pick that team again the rest of the way. You win, you play next week. You lose, you go home. Opening week, a lot of people can go down in the opening week because there's a lot of unknowns, and a lot of people like to pick the most definitive one yet and get out of the way. I'm playing for the long haul this year. So I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills as my survivor pick of the week because the Bills defense is still a top 5 unit going up against a bottom 5 offense. And while both offenses are going to struggle, at least Buffalo has Stephon Diggs, who they acquired in the offseason.
Madison.
Bills by a bunch.
Yes.
By a bunch.
She's fantastic. Where have you been? She needs to be on the show all the time.
I need to brush up on my smack
all
talk
the
a little
time.
bit.
She needs to be on the show all the time. This is the Allen Darnold Bowl, right? I mean, two guys that were picked a few picks apart in the draft. Problem is for Darnold, who do you have? Now, he does have his tight end, Herndon, who missed what? They kept saying he was going to come back, week after week. I'm picking him in fantasy, paying money for him, thinking he's going to come. And the guy didn't bust the grape the whole season. So he's going to have him this year. You do have what, Steve? I'm trying to get through this, man. You also have you got Le'Veon Bell that you could work with. It's just not enough. Too many weapons. With Josh Allen, you got a guy not only that is capable of running around, but has now a deep downfield threat to go to. And I look at the defense on the for the Buffalo Bills, and you talk about pay that man, pay Trey White, Trey White, and they did. And they didn't pay him Jalen Ramsey money, but they paid him Steve Clarke. Just too much defense for the Bills as well. And you look at the other side of the football, all they did was trade away their best defensive player. It's not going to be a good year for the Jets.
Matt wanted you to know the fiber comes from the brat buns, not the cheese. All right, guys. Sam Webb's the Las Vegas Raiders at the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are a home dog, getting 2.5.
Yeah, they should be a home dog. I just, what have you done? You fit right in down in Carolina, Steve. Yeah, what have you done with me late? What have you done for me lately? Mentality. A guy who, blood, sweat, and tears for years, gave it up for you, and then you just cast them off. Both Cam Newton and Greg Olsen out. Now you do still have Christian McCaffrey. We'll see what Teddy Bridgewater is able to do, but new system versus a Raiders team that won 7 games. I mean, quietly, I know I kind of ragged on Gruden a little bit. Didn't really think that he was ready to come back off of Monday Night Football, but Derek Carr got some speedy weapons on the outside. I got the Raiders winning and the Raiders covering.
Steve Clarke.
Tough game to pick because Carolina has a chance, believe it or not, to be offensively explosive. But head coach Matt Rule has had 1 year of NFL coaching experience in the past 20 years. I mean, is he ready for this? Speaking of being ready, Carolina has one of the worst defenses in the NFL last season, and they have 8 new faces in their starting lineup today. Then good, I can say, Ira might be happy to know that former Maryland Terrapin DJ Moore was 9th in the NFL in receiving yards last year. I mean, are you going to pick Carolina because of that? I'm picking Las Vegas today.
Yeah, look at Henry Ruggs, man. I mean, when you look at some of the guys that are in Michigan's recruiting class, we got some Michigan fans on here. Henry Ruggs, one of the speediest receivers in the draft, now one of the speediest receivers in the NFL. Josh Jacobs bust into the NFL last year. It's a 1,000-yard rusher. Those Bama guys that Josh Gaddis coached, by the way, they came up big, and they're going to come up bigger this year.
Madison, you got Vegas or Carolina?
Aren't the Panthers just the worst?
They might be one of the worst. Well, I think we're going to get to the worst team next, right?
Well, one of the worst.
Are we getting to the worst team next?
All right. Raiders.
I figured Madison would take a team from Vegas anyway. So
What? Okay.
Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a 7.5-point underdog at home. They might be the worst team in the
Who's
league.
left on the Jacksonville Jaguars roster?
Last one out. Turn off the lights.
I'm just saying, it's like they went and got their team from like a shelter down there, which is a good thing. Charity is good. You know, you want to take people off the street. That's exactly what the Jacksonville Jaguars have done as they let Leonard Fournette go. They traded away Yannick Ngakoue. It's like it's the tankathon down there in Jacksonville, Steve. That's what it feels like. This is without question. I think the Jaguars might win 3 games this year. They lose this one and they lose it big.
You know, when it comes to spread, and we're not talking about straight up winners. When you look at the spread, Jacksonville is at 7.5. I'm looking at the research on this, and the Colts have lost 6 straight season openers outright.
Steve, don't do it.
And the Jags have won 5 consecutive wins over the Colts in Jacksonville. It's stupid stats like these that keep me awake at night when I lose. So therefore, I am picking the Jaguars to cover.
Okay, Steve, don't say I didn't try to help you. Don't say I didn't warn you. This is worse than the Houston pick, man. I'm just saying. But okay.
Madison.
Well, Colts for 2 reasons. Number 1, because they're going to win, and number 2, because I just realized that my fantasy team is completely stacked with Indianapolis. So
you have Phillip Rivers and some other guys.
I need them to do well.
All right, 2 other 1 o'clock games that we're going to get to. Another game from the AFC East: Miami at New England. New England is a 6-point favorite at home, but we were talking about earlier in the show. Right. This is a new look. And not only new look at quarterback, but they are missing, was it 8 or 9 guys that are opting out of the season? So a very different looking New England Patriots, but it's still against a Miami team that has so many question marks.
Yeah, a bunch of – go ahead, Steve.
I mean, this time a year ago, guys, New England was expected to win another Super Bowl, and Miami's training camp trades and cuts were leading them to an 0-16 season. I mean, they were outscored 163-26 in the month of September. The Dolphins have a chance, believe it or not, for an upset in Foxborough with Ryan Fitzpatrick, who upset Brady's Patriots in Week 17 last year. Not only is Brady gone, but as Ira said, so is half of New England's defense. Not only have I taken Miami to cover this, but if forced to pick an upset outright of the bunch, a significant upset of 6 or more points in a game, this is the one game that I would say this upset could outright happen. I'm taking Miami in this one at Foxborough.
I love you, Steve. I love you, man. Ryan Fitzpatrick is 65 years old. A guy like that on the road against a Bill Belichick team, Steve. Now, I know we just talked about
defense.
We don't know what Bill Belichick is, but Ryan Fitzpatrick at this stage of his career going to take out a Patriots team. I know they're
beat them the last time they played.
I understand that, but this is a different year and a defense that, while they have question marks, have had an entire offseason to prepare for this Miami team that will not catch them by surprise. I think the Patriots are going to win this game. I think you
helped make my argument.
Madison, who you got?
I don't like the Patriots. Can I pick an upset here?
You can pick whoever you want.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
I mean, we don't tell you who to pick here on the show. One more 1 o'clock game. The Philadelphia Eagles at the very appropriately apparently named Washington football team. Madison, who you have, Philly or Washington?
I'm going to go with the Eagles. I think it's going to be a close game, though.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Eagles as well. Again, I don't know what Washington is.
I don't think Washington knows what Washington is.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I'm not saying that I expect the offseason turmoil to really affect them. I'm just talking about the on-field.
Oh, I know.
Stuff.
Yeah, just a young quarterback that they don't know what they have. Brand new coach who has proven to be really good, but he's actually been a little distracted last week or so. He's started some medical treatments, but they have a system that should work for them. But are the parts there yet? Remain. Last time I checked, Dwayne Haskins is not Cam Newton.
So the Eagles won the offseason with their personnel moves, especially on offense. Plus, they got Darius Slay now on defense. Washington, from a matchup point of view, I mean, Washington's going to have a bit of better pass rush because of Chase Young being on the defensive line, and the Eagles' offensive line this week is not healthy going into this game. So an individual matchup on a week-to-week basis right now favors Washington. They're up by 6. They're a +6 at home. I'm still going with the Eagles, though.
Hey, I know Brandon Graham's family, too. Steve Clarke hates you, too, by the way.
I just picked the Eagles.
But you didn't even mention BG. One of Detroit's finest. I mean, just an outstanding player. You can't even give him a couple of seconds of love. Steve, wasn't Brandon Graham one of the best defensive linemen of all time? You can't. I teed it up for you. I didn't mention him. Just trying to let you redeem yourself for the DPJ snub. And here you just just leave Brandon Graham dangling.
There was no DPJ snub.
I'm friends. I'm friends with BG's family too. Steve hates you. I love you. Just so you know.
Clearly.
So we are going to get to the 4:00 games and the primetime games on the other side of the break, and we're going to maybe settle some of this dispute about who Steve hates and doesn't hate during the break. Stay with us. This is the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, The Ticket, and Ticket TV. Clear.
I'm a lover.
What's up, Tim? How you doing out there in Three Rivers? Good to see you.
I also just realized that I think the Patriots are my defense. I gotta look that up. I really
That's
don't.
not good.
No,
that's not good.
Right. Griffin is right. Pick whoever is playing the Jags.
Yeah, right.
You're exactly right.
Exactly right.
You're exactly right. How could you pick the Jags? Give me a break.
Well, that's a points thing, but yeah.
Point spread.
I think Indy's offense should be. I think Indy's offense has a chance to be pretty good this year.
I think they do.
Phillip Rivers could put up some pretty big numbers there.
Jonathan Taylor at one running back spot.
He's on my fantasy squad. I'm not starting this week though. Maybe I should have, but I didn't start him this week.
Oh my gosh.
There's no segment that is more fun with you guys than a pick segment. Period. There's no segment that is more fun.
Hey, for the people at home, don't let up. Don't let up on me. Don't let up. It's more entertaining this way.
Hi, Simone.
normally for
Simone.
normally for the Saturday games, we're always on different sides. I kind of like being on the same side with Sam.
Well, that's what
getting all fired.
That's
up.
why he's saying where was she been? Needs to be more part of the show. I'm like, is he going to say that in a fall Saturday when she's in green? I doubt that.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
Different.
Oh.
It's why.
Oh, you
I
like
say,
Sunday Madison,
look,
not Saturday
it's
Madison.
Why
I like
say,
Sunday Sam. So this works.
Right. It's why I say if the Lions ever win it, it'd be the biggest. It would be
the biggest party the city's ever seen.
It'd be Caligula down on Woodward Avenue. That's how crazy it would be in Detroit if the Lions ever win it. It would be crazy.
It would be
because you got all the fans in the state.
There is something to be said about the. I remember reading a study. I don't remember years ago it was, and it ranked like best fan bases, and the top of it was all the. I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't put. I'm not saying that Steelers and Packer fans aren't great fans, but the Lions fans are at every game, and they suck. And they don't win, right? And they aren't winning. And it was right around the time it was the 0-16 season. I'm like, they're still, even if a few people aren't there, like they're still going to the games. They're still showing up.
Yeah, we're loyal. Absolutely.
You can't tell me. And then they rank in in the bottom part of the list. I'm like, it's just one of those stereotypical lists that people make up. But I'm like, the best fans are the ones that when you have a sellout and your team doesn't make the playoffs, and you still sell out every game, and you still people show up,
and we'll be there when they win. We will be there. We're so happy that we hung on.
2 minutes, I got you, miss. 2 minutes. It's so true. The pent up. I mean, I know how I was screaming, running out of the press box under the lights after not cheering for 4 hours. I can only imagine what it's like after not having a Super Bowl for 40 years.
Close. I've told this story before, but 91, you have Mike Utley paralyzed on the field. You remember Eric Andelsek, Steve?
Yeah.
You weed whacked your lawn, right? This guy was weed whacking his lawn, and a semi truck hit him in his front yard.
Yep.
I mean, this offensive line was going to be. I mean, it was the Lions and the Cowboys. That was the talk of the early '90s. Barry and Emmett. I mean, you had Eric Kramer at quarterback, but there was enough. There was enough to get it done, and then your offensive line starts falling one by one.
I remember vividly, when they used to sell Sports Illustrated, like it was like an ad that just wouldn't keep stopping on TV. It'd be like a 60-second ad to subscribe to Sports Illustrated. And Peter King, their expert, talked about, I know it's about the Lions and the Cowboys coming in the future, but I think it's the Dallas Cowboys that are going to start building for me. I was like so mad at him for saying that on national TV every freaking day. And he was right, but I'm still mad. Still very mad. Who was the guy in the mid-90s? The Lions drafted a linebacker and he got paralyzed. I forgot his name.
Reggie Brown?
I think that was it. People at home will help me.
Yeah, we're not going to go through that. We're not taking Sam down that rabbit hole of all the bad things that have happened over the years. Sam seems to slide down that one every once in a while. I was at a Lions playoff game. Was it 91? I was at the Lions playoff game.
You were at the Lions playoff game in 91?
Standby gang.
You were at the Lions playoff game in 91?
Yeah, when they lost in DC.
Oh, that game.
I said a playoff game. 5. Standing by. Welcome back to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff here on Sports Talk 1050, WTKA The Ticket, and on Ticket TV. And if you go to WTKA.com/countdown, you have a chance to win a full car detail from our friends at Brighton Ford, over a $200 value. They do a great job up there with all the work that they do. That's where my Ford is from. They take great care of you once you have your car, and obviously all the work in the service side as well. So shout out to our friends at Brighton Ford. You can sign up at WTKA.com/countdown. If you're online, though, you can send us messages. We're showing them on the screen, and we're replying back to you as well, and even talking to you during the breaks. And Sam, it's one of those secrets that we always tell people, that the break conversations are all usually pretty fun, and we don't usually share the break conversations with the listeners. Well, here the listeners and viewers get a chance to a sneak peek at what the break conversations are all about. Although these are a little bit tamer than some of the ones that we've had in the past. Let's get back to our pick segment. We also have our friend Madison Rowley here with us as well. The 4:00 games before we get to the primetime games. Sam Webb, the Chargers at the Bengals. The first pick of the draft, Joey Burrow, is a 3-point underdog at home, kicking off at 4:05.
Yeah, this one's actually a tough one for me. As you got new starting quarterbacks for these squads, but when you look at the package that is coming with the Chargers, and one of the best pass rushers in the game, Joey Bosa, teeing off against a rookie quarterback, and on one side you got a bell cow back that you could hand it off to in a Melvin Ingram. I just like what the Chargers have around. What's the line on this game?
3.
That's a tough.
And push is an option. If you thought it would be a 3-point game, you can say push. That's kind of a lame bet, but you can play push.
I'll go with the Chargers, and I'll say that they'll cover on this.
So Kyler Murray, he nearly beat the Lions in his debut, #1 overall pick in 2019. Is Joe Burrow any better? I mean, I really don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you that the San Diego Chargers probably is not as good as the Detroit Lions were going into week 1 last year down in Arizona. So why not pick the upset? I'm going with Cincinnati covering the 3 points.
Love it. The Lions didn't have Joey Bosa. Go ahead.
My heart is in Cincinnati. I have a lot of friends that actually played for the Bengals, but they're not there anymore. And so that makes me sad. So I'm going for that reason, I'm going with the Chargers.
Yeah. I was about to say, I thought she was against the Bengals. They overpaid for Trey Waynes. Like, they went and took out a second mortgage to pay Trey Waynes. For what reason? I don't know if you watched them with the Vikings, but she didn't go with the Sparty Love. So I'm proud of you, man.
Well,
I'm proud of you.
I already picked a big upset, I think, so we'll see.
All right, guys, the game that I think most people are going to be watching today, I know our guy Miz is about to give me big nods on his head that he is watching this game closely. The Saints are 3.5-point favorites at home against the Tampa Brady Buccaneers.
So this is an outstanding game. If you watch the New Orleans Saints under Drew Brees, it's like it doesn't matter who they put around them. They just become explosive. But Mike Thomas has become one of the best receivers in the game. Hate to say that about an Ohio State Buckeye, right? You just got Kamara just got paid, so he's going to be more fired up. But I've said this openly, a serious moment for a second. How much of what happened in the offseason is going to linger for the New Orleans Saints? Where you had Drew Brees, kind of being on the opposite side of his teammates when it came to the kneeling protest, and one where they called him out. Regardless of what side of that you're on, it was an issue in that locker room. So are bygones truly bygones? It should be noted where the rest of the NFL they were all saying the hell with Drew Brees. His teammates, they came out en masse and they were like, hey, Drew's okay. He said he's sorry. We believe him. We're moving forward. I just don't know if it really goes away that easily, that quickly. You go on the other side of the field, Steve Clarke, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are a Super Bowl team this year, Steve Clarke. I laid out the weapons for you. I didn't even get into the defense where they're pretty good. I'll leave that to you. I'll just say the most weapons ever around Tom Brady. I don't care if he's 57. A 57-year-old Tom Brady with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk and O.J. Howard, Shady McCoy and Leonard Fournette. That 57-year-old Tom Brady is going to the Super Bowl.
Sam, I'm going to take a cue from what you've been saying in the last segment. When looking at Tampa Bay and New Orleans, it's really pretty simple. Cesar Ruiz is out for the New Orleans Saints.
Finally.
Tom Brady is in for the Tampa Bay Bucks. It's kind of simple who's going to win this game, right? Oh, wait a minute. Let me take these maize and blue glasses off, Sam. This game is in New Orleans. And why we think about Brady and Gronk, the Bucks receiver that you've been talking about, and rightfully so, Mike Evans, one of the best out there, and is a questionable top 10 receiver in the NFL altogether, is not playing in this game. He is. Oh, see the reaction Sam just turned on that?
No,
the reaction just went down a little bit on that.
Weapons, plural, Steve Clarke.
That's enough for me to say the Saints are going to be able to cover this one.
Well, Steve, I didn't ask you to go overboard with your Michigan love. See, you don't know Tom Brady, but you know Cesar Ruiz, and I sense you trying to get back in his good graces. Cesar will be okay though. He's resilient like that. A case in point. Cesar Ruiz's first start against Minnesota back in, 18? So if you remember that game, Cesar Ruiz blew an assignment.
Yeah, so the wrong way, right?
Yeah, he blows an assignment.
Are you dissing a Michigan player, Sam? What are you doing?
I'm trying to help you out. And he got his quarterback killed. He got BP killed. The reason why Brandon Peters might have missed that game probably was that hit against Minnesota. I was walking out of Chrysler Arena, and it's dark at night, and C still sees me coming. Some guy comes running up to me out of the dark. Sam. I heard first after I got to gather myself because he scared the hell out of me. And I said, what? Who is that? He says, it's Cesar. I said, yeah, what's up, Cesar? He said, Sam, did you see me? I said, yeah, Cesar, I saw you get the quarterback killed. But my point is, Steve, you see he got his quarterback killed on the field, and he was still fine after the game. You could pick someone other than New Orleans. Cesar still love you. Yeah, I mean, you just had to mention them. You didn't have to pick them.
I know Madison picked New Orleans because I can't imagine Madison's a big Tom Brady fan.
I am not a Tom Brady fan at all. But are these the oldest quarterbacks in the NFL right now? I think they are.
Ryan Fitzpatrick has to be older.
Oh, that's right.
No, Ryan Fitzpatrick only looks older.
Well, I'm going with the Saints. It's also in New Orleans. I think you're both. Someone said they're both going for the Super Bowl this year, right? One of you, yeah. Steve said that.
First of three.
Yeah, I think because it's in New Orleans, I'm going with the Saints.
First of three matchups. Is this the first of three matchups?
Could be.
Sam.
Yeah.
It absolutely could be. All right, Madison, first one, you get the first pick on this one. Arizona at San Francisco. The 49ers are favored at home by 7 points.
I don't like them. I've never liked them. I don't know if I can tell you why. I'm going with the Cardinals.
I mean, look, Kyler Murray, he just hit the jackpot. I mean, remember when I said Deshaun Watson, his transition to the NFL was eased by DeAndre Hopkins. Man, Kyler Murray fell up the stairs, guys. It just doesn't get. You don't get a better bounce than this. Unfortunately, he's playing a really, really stout defense, one that can get after the quarterback. They have good corner play. And I was really, really impressed with their running attack last year. But here's the secret that's not a secret anymore. You know, George Kittle just got wide receiver money, Steve Clarke. And I was talking about George Kittle before he was, maybe arguably the number one tight end in the game. Now you got a happy George Kittle out there, Steve. He's going to have a field day. I think that the 49ers will win this game and they will cover. But still, the Cardinals, Kyler Murray at least will look good.
These double for Iowa glasses as well. If you need any help. Look, I mentioned Kyler Murray a couple minutes ago. It seemed like ages ago, actually. He has DeAndre Hopkins. Sam has already said that. And the NFC champs, by the way, San Francisco, not getting a lot of love by prognosticators in this game because the Cards play the 49ers better and the 49ers underperform against the spread at home. So I'm going to take the bookies' advice on this one and say it's all in the Cards in this game.
Oh, I see what you did there, Steve.
Like that? It's the
You're-
dad jokes coming
yeah.
through
That
again.
was cute.
I got to see what you did there. All right, Steve, right back to you. Dallas at LA. The Rams tonight, 8:20 in prime time.
Okay, a new coaching staff on the road. Not only does the D in Dallas stand for drama, it usually stands for disappointment in games like this. I'm picking the Rams.
Yeah, I feel dirty picking the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Feel dirty picking them. But man, the weapons that they have and what they've been saying about CeeDee Lamb down there. I mean, one of the guys in the draft, if you weren't paying attention, slide and you wonder is there something about this kid that made him not be, a top 10 guy. He gets down in Dallas and he is doing this thing. You give, you give them another weapon on the outside. I think the Cowboys are. Why are you making me say it? I think the Cowboys are going to win this game.
Madison.
I don't like the Cowboys either. Sam and I agree on a lot of things. This is kind of funny to me because we never agree on it. Well,
Wow.
college football.
On Saturdays.
On Saturdays, we don't agree. On Sundays, apparently we do. I don't remember actually why I picked this way. I woke up at like 4:30 this morning freaking out that I didn't have these picks ready to go. And I didn't write any notes for this one. I don't know why I picked the Cowboys, but I have the Cowboys.
I don't love the Cowboys, Tim.
I don't like them.
I do not love the Cowboys. Don't take that off of there. Get that out of here. Don't put that out there in the atmosphere for people to think I like the Cowboys. I'm just picking them in this segment.
All right, guys, there's 2 primetime games tomorrow night. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the New York Giants. The Giants are a 4.5-point underdog at home. And yeah, this is yeah. I don't like either of these teams. So
Where's somebody got a coin? Steve, you go first. I need a coin to flip on this.
Look, Steelers get it done on defense this one. Ben Roethlisberger coming back from basically a season-long injury, throws a couple of deep balls over a shaky secondary of the New York Giants. I'm picking Pittsburgh.
gross.
So I got Devin Bush on one side, and I got Captain Jabril Peppers on the other side. Ira, this one is a tough one for me. You're gonna hate me, Ira, but I got. I gotta go with the Pittsburgh.
I'm not gonna hate
Steelers,
either of you guys for. I will not hate either of you for picking Pittsburgh in this game because the Giants are terrible. But I'll forgive you this time. Madison.
Don't you think Roethlisberger's going to be rusty though, coming back after being out for that long and such a bad injury?
Yeah, but he's still probably better what they have on the other side.
And they're playing the Giants.
They're playing the Giants.
Yeah, you got to go with them.
All right, the last primetime game, Tennessee at Denver. Denver's a 1.5-point underdog. Favorite at home. 1.5-point favorite at home for Denver.
Yeah, this is like the if you want to know what Josh Gaddis is watching today, he's watching this game. You look at the Denver Broncos receiving corps; they were all coached by Josh Gaddis. All of them are Josh Gaddis guys. Unfortunately, in this what's the line in this?
1.5.
1.5 point. And where's the game?
Denver.
And the game's in Denver.
Mile High, no fans.
Mile High, no fans. And I really love. I'm going to go with Tennessee in this game. I got the Tennessee Titans winning this game and covering on the road.
Steve Clarke.
Now with analysis.
Well, I want to give you some time.
Jadeveon Clowney is in for the Titans. Von Miller is out for the season at Denver. Titans.
Madison.
I have Broncos, but I can't tell you why.
But that's okay.
I stopped writing notes at some point. I have notes from.
That's okay because the broadcast is working. That's okay because you got all this set up and working with your team.
Absolutely.
So
All right, thank you.
having
She's
less notes
allowed.
is totally fine.
She's allowed.
That's
She put
totally
it all
good.
together. So
It is always fun pick segment,
Well,
and I kind of wait to tally these numbers as the Sunday
This'll be
plays
fun.
out,
Look,
and I'm going to send out lots of notes to all 3 of you guys as to who's winning.
As you watch this game, I'm sorry, Steve. You didn't mention Derrick Henry in this contest. Maybe the most physical runner, when I watched him in high school, I thought he was a defensive end. I don't know if people understand how huge Derrick Henry is. And didn't he have like a 90-yard rushing touchdown last year?
He's a beast.
He is a freak of nature.
That's my Ravens.
And the best player in the game, I often cite that intangible stat. He'll be the best player on the field and a guy that you can always lean on to get you the extra yard. He can catch the football out of the backfield and he can go the distance. This is a game that the Tennessee Titans are going to win.
Coming up at 1:00 today is the Lions versus the Bears, the season opener for both teams on the opening Sunday of the NFL season. You can hear the entire coverage of the game right here on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA The Ticket. But we have another hour of the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff. myself, Sam Webb, Steve Clarke. We're going to talk Lions and Bears coming up next here on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket and Ticket TV. Player. I didn't write down. You took Arizona or San Francisco. I didn't actually write it down.
I took San Francisco.
That's what I thought. I just didn't write it down.
This is going to be fun. Thanks for inviting me into this one.
Oh,
guys.
our pleasure.
I'm gonna-
And you
I'm gonna
got to come
step
back
out.
to the last. You're back in the last segment for
Yeah.
the
I'm going to pop out now. I need some more coffee.
Gosh.
popping out. See, we got a Sue Walworth sent us a message this morning.
Hey,
You see that?
Hey, Sue.
And Greg Dooley, hi Greg, how you doing? He thinks Steve looks really nice.
Yeah.
And our buddy, we got
Different.
some Vinny in North Carolina. We got Tim in Three Rivers out there, and Jeff. Let's highlight Jeff's message for a moment on the
Oh,
screen.
See, Jeff, you guys, do you remember Jeff? He used to work at WTKA more than 25 years ago. 25 years ago.
I didn't know that.
He was one of the prime voice talents on WTKA
Okay.
at the time. You
What's up,
guys were
Jeff?
probably teenagers.
Cool.
You guys were probably teenagers, but
99 yards. Thank you. Skippy.
And no,
Look at that.
Simone, Matt is not grilling for us today.
Hi, Jenny. There you go. I'm right there with you. Go blue and go Lions. Unfortunately, we go blue way more than we go Lions, right? The Lions are the Michigan was always my saving grace. They kept me sane. And then when both teams were losing, Steve, yeah, that's why I was,
You had a short little run there.
that's why I was so dejected for the span of about 3-4 years.
But you also have the ability with the Sunday games versus the Saturday games to detach that more from work because you're not taking a ton of notes. And
I agree, Invictors. Madison is a great addition to the crew. On Sundays.
yeah, but Greg, you know
On
she wears
Sundays.
green on Saturdays.
Yeah,
She's
not
not
on
invited on
Saturdays.
Saturdays.
Not on Saturdays, man. She can't be around.
She's not invited on Saturdays. That's why I asked for a mouse. I don't want to keep leaning all the way over. To lean for the keyboard. Hi,
going
everyone.
in 3D.
No,
So
Simone, Michigan Matt is not grilling today, but that is an excellent suggestion. I think Michigan Matt should be on the grill. He could grill like, some bacon. Take a griddle out there.
Wait till
Take a griddle, put it on the grill, fry up some bacon.
we're gonna have a lunchtime show coming up pretty soon. When do they
some
go to?
eggs.
with he was withdrawing his suggestion because he forgot about the
No.
Saturday.
Look, Greg, she's fine on Sundays. She's fine on Sundays. She just can't be around on Saturdays. That's all. We're good. Wow, Tim. So that's all I need to do is get back surgery. I could lose 10 pounds. That's all it takes. Sign me up.
You know, I lost 15 pounds. I lost about 15 pounds about 8 years ago.
You got back surgery too?
No, I had a divorce. The divorce diet works that way too.
I thought he initially said he had a triple vasectomy.
Yeah, I saw the ectomy I felt for you, Tim.
The first two weren't good enough, apparently. Getting a third vasectomy. What? I read it
Wow.
wrong. That's why I wear glasses now.
Tim, you're making me feel old, buddy.
That's why I wear glasses now.
7-year anniversary of Grill Wars. I'm feeling old.
Do we need to bring Grill Wars back? Like if we did,
Post-COVID?
who would come? Yeah,
Post-COVID?
Post-COVID.
Yeah, I
Grill
think we
Wars.
Well,
should
the
bring
meat
Grill
would be
Wars back
cooked.
post-COVID.
The meat would be cooked.
Bring back Grill Wars like in 2021, maybe.
Yeah, I think we might have to bring it back. We've talked about it,
It could be like the Olympics every 4 years.
but I think that Steve needs to be a judge this time.
I won't break a chair. How's that?
Poor Marcus. He's not here to defend himself.
That's pretty bad.
Stand by, guys. I'm sorry, gang. Sorry, hero gang, not guys. Mrs. bobbing his head at the music.
Shout out to Miz. Good job, Miz.
Standing by. That's right. Welcome back to the Countdown to Kickoff, the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff here on Sports Talk 1050, WTKA The Ticket, and Ticket TV. Ira Weintraub, Sam Webb, Steve Clarke. You know what I just did? I looked to Steve for. I'm so used to what Saturdays are like, and we kind of changed our setup here. But yes, Sam to my right, Steve to my left. We had a great segment with picking a couple segments, picking games. We're gonna bring Madison back later on in the show.
That'll make Greg Dooley happy.
Yeah, see, Greg Dooley did say one vote to add Madison to the countdown crew. Then Sam reminded him that she would be in green on Saturdays, and then he withdrew that. There you go, withdrawn.
Withdrawn only on Saturdays. She's outstanding on Sunday.
Outstanding on Sunday. She'll be back at the end of the show to pick the Lions-Bears game. But speaking, guys, of the Lions-Bears kicking off a little bit after 1 o'clock at a fanless Ford Field. But let's talk about the Lions on offense / the Bears on defense and what these matchups look like. And Sam, we've spent all week when we've talked Lions. This is the easy part of the conversation, the offensive side. We'll get a lot more into the defense in a moment, but the offensive side is the easier conversation to have because you know what you have where you start, right?
Yeah, you absolutely do. Unfortunately, do we have word on Kenny Galladay?
Done.
He's out. As last I checked, he's out. I don't think it's official yet, but
No.
it was pretty doubtful.
Look, he didn't practice Thursday. He didn't practice Friday.
Yeah, it's highly likely.
Well,
not
he wasn't
playing.
even limited. He didn't play or practice.
See, but Matthew Stafford, what I've been impressed by with him post Calvin Johnson is I think in fairness for some of the criticism that he's taken, he has done a really good job of elevating the guys around him. Think about the no-name crew that's followed him. And I'm not calling Marvin Jones no name, but relative to a Calvin Johnson, I mean, Marvin Jones has become much better with the Lions than he was with the Cincinnati Bengals. Amendola, you still have him out there. And is this the game where we see TJ Hawkinson step forward and really be a guy? Now, if history is an indicator, his week 1 performance was really damn good. He was crap after that. But for 1 week, he looked like a top 10 pick. For 1 week, he looked like, okay, I get why you didn't take Devin Bush with that pick. And then we started realizing why the Lions have sucked all these years because they took a tight end in the top 10. Maybe for 1 week, he can look like that guy. But here's what you have, what Matthew Stafford, the year where they went on a run. Remember, it wasn't just Calvin Johnson on the outside. It was also Javid Best in the backfield, rushing for 1,000 yards, giving him a guy that he could hand the football off to take some of the pressure off of the passing game. This 3-headed monster that they have at running back this year, I feel like they're going to have that. Kerryon Johnson has shown you flashes, and Steve, you're right. He just hasn't been on the football field enough to sustain it. But a guy who can get you tough yards, he can make moves in space, he can catch the football a little bit out of the backfield. But if you don't like that piece of his game, DeAndre Swift, coming from Georgia, where they had a pro-style attack, he is a dual-purpose back, but can really catch the football out of the backfield. And if you have questions about either of those guys, as we've been talking about, AP at this stage of his career, he's, if nothing else, a steadying force in that backfield. Matthew Stafford will have a running game he can lean on this year, Steve. In that, I have a lot of faith.
So clearly, the Lions season's offense, rests on Matt Stafford's hands and being able to be healthy and being on the field, not have any back problems, leg problems, knee problems. Early on in his career, Matt Stafford was hard to keep on the field, but there was a 10-year run where he was doing pretty well staying on the field. And then, of course,
he's like Cal Ripken.
Right. And that was after he was off the field quite a bit to start. People were discussing about, his ability to stay on the field.
Miss the game.
No, I'm saying, but he eventually did, so not quite like Cal Ripken.
He said for a 10-year period, though.
Yeah, for a 10-year period.
Cal's was like 17, but okay.
He's obviously the number one guy. Kenny Galladay is the second guy, as you mentioned. Led the league, by the way, in touchdowns last year with 11. The Bears head coach Matt Nagy says he's the second most troublesome player on the team, offense or defense. As we just mentioned, Galladay is doubtful for this one, and that's a big-time matchup because he was going to go up against as much as possible against a rookie in the Chicago Bears secondary, Jalen Johnson, who was a draft pick in the second round by the Bears. He's starting, by the way. Jeff Okudah is not, but he's starting in this game, and that would have been a big advantage for the Lions to have Galladay out there against them. Now the Bears can now be able to spread that secondary wealth amongst the other Lions receivers in this one. But then the third guy, and you mentioned the running back situation, and I think DeAndre Swift is a third attempt at having Reggie Bush or having Javid Best. It's like the third guy is the same guy, and they're trying in that regard. And I think it's a good move to have a versatile back out like that. Kerryon Johnson might be able to play, might not be able to play, and just in general because of his health issues, he's fine right now. And then you got AP, and I think AP, believe it or not, has a chance to lead the Lions in rushing this year because of potential injury situations, and because DeAndre Swift might carry the ball more out of the backfield as a passing threat on third down more than anything else. So I think AP has a chance to be a star at the age of what was he, 35, 36 years old?
Hey, so Steve, I got
65?
a question. I got a question for you.
Of course you do.
You know, how nimble can a guy be after a triple vasectomy? I mean, you have any analysis on
None.
that? Triple vasectomies?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm talking about, you talked about the triple vasectomy earlier in the show. Yeah, Tim
No, no. That was Tim's surgery.
So why are you asking me how you could run after having that?
I have never.
It was a laminectomy, Sam.
I've never heard
triple
of a triple vasectomy.
disectomy.
Is there such a thing as a triple vasectomy?
No,
Does that exist?
disectomy.
Okay.
Disectomy.
But Steve said vasectomy. Isn't that right?
That's what I said, what I thought I was reading. It's why I wear glasses.
Tim is back from surgery from a disectomy
I thought he had
and a
vasectomy.
laminectomy. I have to squint to read Tim's writing on the screen. Those are big words, Tim, but we're glad you're back and feeling better.
Yeah, you wouldn't lose weight with a triple vasectomy. You'd be sitting down for quite a while. I'm just saying.
And now, Steve, how about that offensive line for the Lions? Please get us back on track, Steve Clarke.
The right side of the offensive line is in trouble for the Lions because their tackle is also doubtful. Well, he's actually out for this game. So you've got Jonah Jackson, a rookie out of Ohio State, third-round pick. I'm glad he's making the starting lineup because he might be the only Lions starter from the NFL Draft 2020 season to be able starting in this game. That's good news, but he's a rookie. The right tackle is out. The Bears, who are going to rush heavily on that side, is going to put a lot of pressure on Matt Stafford from that side. The good news is left side's great. I mean, Taylor Decker's got the big contract extension, $15 million. 4 years, $60 million, $15 million a year, and like 38 of it's guaranteed. So great move for him. And he stays as a Lion. Then he's a solid left tackle that's going to be able to protect Matt Stafford. But in today's game, I'm worried about the right side of Matt Stafford.
Yeah, man. You're talking about a Bears attack. As much as we malign the Bears for Mitch Trubisky, who's looked good against the Lions, they get after it defensively. I mean, Khalil Mack is one of the single toughest defenders to deal with in the NFL. Lions fans know about Akeem Hicks, right? You got to be impressed with what Roquan Smith was able to come in and do. I know Michigan fans would know Roquan from when they came down to the final round with the Georgia Bulldogs, and he wound up going there. Danny Trevathan, Kyle Fuller has been outstanding in the secondary. They just are loaded defensively. It's going to be harder, at least on paper, harder for Matthew Stafford to have success than it will be Mitch Trubisky. But still, I just feel like you set it up. You have it set up now where Matthew Stafford won't have to hold the football as long. I think maybe this is a TJ Hawkinson game. This is one where he should be that security blanket, that safety valve for him. And then, of course, a running game to keep him honest, to keep him from pinning their ears back. You do have some things to offset that Bears rush. And if you can keep Mitch Trubisky at bay, I did just say those words. If you can keep Mitch Trubisky at bay, I think the Lions, they're going to put up some decent points in this game. I think they're going to score in the 20s, Steve Clarke.
Yeah, and I want to go to Trubisky for a moment because you say he's done well. He's got a 4-0 record against the Lions in the last 2 years. A 75% completion percentage over those games, 1 interception, a 132 passer rating. I know the Lions were in free fall 2 of those
He's
times.
Undefeated against the Lions? I didn't know that.
4-0, not undefeated.
Okay.
His last 4 games he's beaten. I think he's 5 and I think he's won 5 of the last 6. as a starter for the Bears. But a matchup, you mentioned Hockenson, a matchup that's going to be really interesting is between him and free safety Eddie Jackson, who's a Pro Bowler, but he's moving back to free safety where he was an All-Pro. And so they experimented with him at strong safety last year, moving back to free safety. He's going to have a lot of coverage on Hockenson. And we were all warned before the 2019 draft that it takes a while for tight ends to catch on and make their mark. And yet we're still angry at TJ Hockenson for, his lack of performance. And I understand that too. But this is hopefully year 2 is where Hockenson can start making a difference. And he's going to have a tough matchup with Eddie Jackson at free safety.
All right, guys, we have more on the Bears and the Lions. We're going to flip to the other side of the ball and talk about the Lions defense and how they match up against Mitch Trubisky and the Bears offense. And obviously a lot more questions about the Lions defense than the Lions offense heading into the 2020 season, which kicks off for the Lions at 1 o'clock at Ford Field. We're counting you down to 11 o'clock when we join the Lions Radio Network. And then, of course, the call will be on the air here starting at 1 o'clock. More Lions Bears talk inside the break. You're listening to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050 WTK The Ticket and Ticket TV. There.
I'm looking for his splits against the Lions.
Rolling right along.
Tim, good luck to you. With all the jokes we were making halfway on.
I know, but Tim, he's on the mend. And it's good to see Tim on the mend.
Good.
It did turn into a funny thing though, because I saw the same thing. I saw the ectomy twice, and
right.
I mean, we just
what could if you're playing password and the celebrity guest says ectomy, you go this. I mean, that's what you do, right?
Well, and here's a fun conversation for in between breaks for everyone to listen to. The number one most popular week for vasectomies every year is the first week of March Madness.
Yes.
Well, that week all elective surgeries were canceled, and so people were trying to figure out when's the makeup.
Right.
And they're if you're a big golf fan, next week at the U.S. Open in November there's a week in November you've got Masters and college football and NFL or whatever. And people are like, that's the week. That's the makeup week. 6 months later or whatever it is, 8 months later, that's the week to make it up. But I don't know. So Sam, what do you think?
Sam's asking me about triples like I have an idea.
What did I do to you? Hey man, it's not you. It's not you, but they're playing the Bucks, man.
Behind the curtain.
The man behind the curtain.
Playing the Bucks. I'm sorry, man.
Should have a camera following Miz every time he gets angry. Come walking down the hall. Miz is upset. Camera following him down the hallway.
Let's see. Why can't they should just make this an easy stat to find.
What's that?
Mitch Trubisky
versus a specific team.
Versus a specific team.
I kind of told you. From GL on my personal text, no man would ever fully recover from a triple vasectomy.
I agree.
Thank you, GL.
I agree.
Yeah, we all kind of crossed our legs at the same time. Yeah, my buddy Bram in DC. My dad reminded me he gets to fulfill one of his childhood dreams today. Today is his first day as the new play-by-play voice for the Washington football team.
Wow.
He wanted to do that, and he wanted to be the voice of Maryland sports, but Johnny Holiday's still somehow going. And but this is obviously pretty big
Believe
time.
it or not, Johnny Holiday used to be on Ave.
Really?
Yeah, because he's Catholic.
Okay, because he actually started his career as a music disc jockey,
and he had a half-hour show that he was syndicating.
Johnny Holiday,
and he would never say who. I'm the famous Johnny Holiday. He was just, but it was definitely
Johnny.
Him.
Wow,
it
Johnny
was It was definitely him.
Stand by, gang. Miz, next time make that sign in Sharpie. It's really hard to read.
What is Athlon talking? Athlon says Trubisky in 5 games against the Lions. has 1,359 yards and 11 touchdowns. What are they talking about?
Well, it's selective
Standby.
gamemanship.
That's a whole lot of information to tell.
And we are back on the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff, live on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA The Ticket and on Ticket TV. Shout out to everybody out there watching, sending you messages. If you watch on WTKA.com/countdown, you have a chance to win a really sweet detailing from our friends at Brighton Ford. Over $200 value. Your car will look beautiful after you take it up to Brighton Ford with that great prize, that great gift. So you can sign up at WTKA.com/countdown. We're continuing our preview of the Bears-Lions game. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock at Ford Field. And spent a decent amount of time, guys, talking about the Lions offense. Let's shift to the other side, Steve Clarke, the Lions defense. And obviously defense generally starts up front, getting pass rush, stopping the run. Let's start with the Lions up front.
Well, Trey Flowers sort of had a disappointing year last year. He had 7 sacks. He's trying to rebound from that season. There is a whole bunch of expatriates that I don't know if that's saying it right correctly, but a bunch of expatriates are now on the Lions side. And, Jamie Collins, he's going to do it at the middle linebacker, what previous linebackers for the Lions couldn't, and that's cover. And this is an expatriate that you definitely want to have on your team. He should be an answer. The Lions made a couple of moves up front at defensive tackle as well. Danny Shelton is another expatriate. I mean, he was a reserve in 18. He had 14 starts with the Patriots in 2019, and people like what they see him in Lions summer training camp. So I guess that's a good thing. Funny thing, the Lions are playing the Bears starting at nose tackle. Might be a former Bear, and Nick Williams. He looks better in pass rush than he does against the run. But the way the Lions were pass rushing over the last few years, I mean, I think this is probably a good move too, because the stronger need is in the pass rushing situation. So, I mean, there's some good tools to work with. When you look at what the Bears are looking at from a Lions defensive standpoint, the Lions ranked 29th in net yards per pass attempt, 26 per play, 29th in passing touchdowns against, and dead last in the NFL in passing yards. So the Bears and their fans are just salivating over the chance for Trubisky, who, quite frankly, if you don't know the history, nobody likes him in Chicago. They wanted Nick Foles to beat him out so bad because they know what the last 3 years have been like with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback for the Chicago Bears. They wanted him beaten out. And there was a collective sigh among 10 million people in the Chicago area when it was announced that Trubisky has indeed won the job again. So the only thing that their fans could point to now is, well, at least they're playing the Lions because Trubisky has done so well against them.
Well, I look back to last year, and Steve said something that was a trigger to me. He said they got a linebacker that can cover. Jared Davis is the worst linebacker in the league when it comes to covering the pass. That's not me embellishing, overstating. That's an actual stat.
But leaning for emphasis.
He was the worst in the league. And he is a first-round draft pick. So it's not that hard to be better than Jared Davis if you're Jamie Collins. Now, the question with Jamie Collins is, will he be able to come in and be a star caliber player? That guy that you look to on defense where you say, all right, we got to account for that guy. And right now, with Darius Slay off the roster, who is that guy? You don't know who that guy is for the Lions. Are they going to get pass rush this year? Now, you got the Akwara brothers. You mentioned Trey Flowers. Yeah. I mean, are they going to be able to get the quarterback on the move enough to give a secondary that is in development, that is to be, how good they are is to be determined, to give them some time to gel? Because I know they picked up Trufant in the offseason. But look, the Falcons were all too happy to let Trufant go. The Falcons were terrible against the pass last year. So how much does he really have left in the tank? Meanwhile, Steve mentioned that Jeff Okudah, I mean, don't be surprised, Lions fans, if you don't see him starting. Amani
Oruwariye.
There you go, Steve Clarke. Was good at Penn State. He has a little seasoning under his belt. But can we expect for, that secondary to be ready, even with it being Mitch Trubisky, is going to fall on that front seven? is going to fall on Jamie Collins as a playmaker. And how about this for a name? As we look back at last year's draft and all the complaining and griping from me, it's like, okay, if you were going to draft a tight end and a linebacker, the Lions went Hawkinson first round and Jelani Tavai second round. What if I told you, Lions fans, you could have gone Devin Bush first round and Irv Smith second round? And I'm not making that up. They actually could have done that. Isn't Irv Smith looking really good right now? How good did Devin Bush look last year? Looked pretty damn good. I bet you we wouldn't have questions right now about who the Lions playmaker would be if they had Devin Bush. Work in progress. We'll see if all of these Patriots actually come and do something of note. We have gotten one positive return from a Patriot so far, and that's Duron Harmon. The Lions traded away Quandre Diggs last year. It was a shocking development, not because Quandre Diggs was this be-everything guy, but he was the Lions captain. He's their defensive captain, a guy that all the other guys, including Darius Slay, looked to. And when he got traded away, they were rudderless. Hell, they were certainly rudderless defensively, if not as a team, especially once Matthew Stafford, was knocked out with injury. Duron Harmon, in a very short period of time, has come in and apparently gotten that leadership quotient back on the field. He's the voice, the rallying cry, the guy that all the other guys look to. So that is at least one positive return before they've even played a game that I think we can have faith in, is that they'll have a guy to keep them steady. They'll have a guy to keep them, from losing composure. But do they have that playmaker out there? We'll see if Jamie Collins can do that. We'll see if there are other guys around him that emerge.
Well, keep your fingers crossed on his durability, in Harmon's durability on this one. But the one matchup I'm also going to look at, again, is Trey Flowers again. Disappointing last year with 7 sacks, but he played well against the Bears. I mean, in the 2 matchups last season, he had 10 tackles. 3 of those were tackles for a loss. He had 2 sacks on Trubisky and also had 3 additional quarterback hits. So I think that is one thing you want to be able to do on this one. The other thing I was kind of hoping for, not that I wish injuries on people, but David Montgomery is the one running back they had, and he was doubtful and questionable throughout the course of the week. He had a groin injury a couple of weeks ago. They listed him as week to week. He was never put on IR, but practiced fully for the first time on Thursday, did so again on Friday. This is a running back who had 890 yards and 6 touchdowns in 2019. He was their only guy. And one of the things that Bears fans complain about is being a one-dimensional offense, pass only. David Montgomery would have kept the Bears at pass only against the Lions, and it looks like he's going to be able to play. So that's another matchup to look at to see if David Montgomery, how many carries he gets today.
Trey Flowers will do fine as long as he isn't. I don't know who the referees are. As long as they don't have that Packers ref out there. You remember that game? Trey Flowers had a soft caress to the face of the Packers offensive line. It was a horrible, horrible call, multiple horrible calls in that game.
You made 2 hours out of that the next day, Tuesday morning.
I made 2 hours.
You made 2 hours of your broadcast that Tuesday morning.
I mean, you must
give me a break. I'm saying how bad it was. You were able to talk 2 hours out of it. I wasn't ripping you.
Okay, I was about to say, man, you sounded like a Packers fan over there. I was getting worried about you. But yeah, as long as Trey Flowers doesn't have that guy out there, then he should do fine. I think Trey Flowers has a good day today.
Coming up today at 1 o'clock at Ford Field, it is the Bears and the Lions, a season opener. Sam, a couple of things for you guys real quick before we wrap up this segment. I do want just your confidence level, 1 to 10 on the offense. Give me a 1 to 10 on your confidence level of the offense.
For the season or today?
For today.
Oh, for today? Without Kenny Golladay, a 7.
6.
And on the defense?
3.
4.
Well, that gives you fun. That kind of gives you an idea of where things maybe going later in the show when we pick the Bears and the Lions game. We're going to talk predictions for the season within the division and around the league as well. Coming up in the next segment, also a few quick true or false quick hitters for you guys. So I'm going to throw this one at Sam first because this is his favorite player to talk about. True or false, Sam? TJ Hawkinson rebounds in year 2.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard not to. You look at what he was. He was great for 1 week, and then he made the case for why you do not take it. You know what? You know how they say there are sayings that are sayings for a reason. You know how they say don't turn a hooker into a housewife? That's a saying for a reason because you don't do it. You don't draft a tight end in the top 10. Period. You don't do it.
Words to live by.
It's absolutely words to live by. You can get a great tight end later in the draft. George Kittle was like a 5th round pick. Gronk was a 2nd round pick. I think Travis Kelce was a 3rd round pick. These are the top tight ends in the game. You don't take a tight end in the top 10. Of course, the Lions did it. Now we're stuck with him. Now we're hoping that he winds up being mentioned in the same breath with those guys. But just right now, I'll settle for better than last year. It'll be pretty hard, or pretty easy, I should say, to be better than he was last year, Steve Clarke.
I got advice for you at home. If you want to stay in a happy marriage, don't use what he just said as your Twitter handle. The Twitter bio.
I'm just saying. I mean, sayings that are true.
I just wanted you to know,
Words
Cleat
to
called the officiated the game Thursday night.
Cool.
So you should be in good shape with that one. So,
yeah, TJ Hawkinson hopefully rebounds in year 2. I think he's got a combination of size and speed. I think he bulked up in the offseason pretty noticeably if you compare him from last year. So that's going to make him a better blocker. And if he can stay healthy, I think he should be very productive for the Lions this year.
all right, another thing that's going to be key for the Lions this year, true or false, Steve Clarke, Matt Stafford will play in all 16 regular season games this season.
I'm going to go with true on that one. If you look at the track record, with last year not, withstanding, Matt Stafford's been a very healthy player and a very healthy quarterback this year, despite, taking some runs. He takes some design runs and he makes some things happen, but I think he's smart about it. And I do say he plays all 16 games this year.
I'm with you, Steve. He's been, as far as quarterbacks are concerned, NFL's Iron Man. He is older. Reasonable to say that he's probably more likely to be injured, but I'm going to go with history as well. I mean, the guy went damn near a decade without missing a game. That's durability. I think he, with the running game, especially to lean on a little bit more, I think he'll be upright a little bit more. And I think that'll lend itself to him staying healthy all season.
All right, Sam, true or false, a Pro Bowler will emerge from the Lions defense this season.
Oh, false. False. I mean, who? Steve Clarke?
No.
All right, and Sam, one more for you. True or false, Adrian Peterson owns the best Lions jacket ever made.
Yes, he does. Axel Foley. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Absolutely. Philip, I thought that was you. That's right. He does own the best jacket. Does he have a Mumford shirt too?
So what I read is that I don't think he got it as some way, shape, or form. He picked up a couple years ago an Axel Foley Detroit Lions jacket. So I don't think he has a Mumford t-shirt, but he has the Axel Foley Detroit Lions jacket. And of all the pop culture references that have happened in movies or whatever, it usually gives the team like a little bit of a bump. I'm actually surprised that more people in like the 80s didn't actually start rooting for the Lions a little bit, maybe because they had no success, but I just assume that you get some sort of a bump when you're made famous in a movie with the coolest jacket ever made by your
head
team.
Coaches were Monty, Clarke, and Darryl Rogers. There
All right.
wasn't a whole lot to root for there.
All right, that's a good point. We're going to step aside, take a break. On the other side, these guys, Sam Webb and Steve Clarke, plus Madison as well, get back in the picking game. They're going to pick today's game, and I'm going to have the fellows pick who they're going to think to go in the divisions and all that kind of good stuff as we go through more of the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on the other side of the break here on Sports Talk 1050, WTK The Ticket, and Ticket TV. Yep, we are cool. Break. And every time I think of the Adrian Peterson jacket now, I just start going.
Axel F.
Yeah.
I wonder was he
You
ever
wanna
a
talk
Lions fan?
Every kid in the 1980s was trying to play that on the piano.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't take piano. They just tried to figure it out. What's that, Sam?
I wonder was Eddie Murphy a closet Lions fan? Like what made them pick a Lions jersey? I mean a Lions jacket as opposed to a Tigers jacket at the time. The Tigers had just won the World Series.
I don't know the answer to that, but usually that comes from a writer or a director who inserts. So like Air Force One. So, there was a Michigan game.
He's the Michigan president, yeah.
So one of the producers or a writer for the movie had a strong Michigan background and wanted that in.
So probably a Notre Dame guy for the West Wing because he was a Notre Dame president. Yeah.
It's generally how those things happen. somebody on the inside, either as a producer or the writer, putting their nugget in there.
Hi, Gracie. How you doing, Gracie? Hi.
How do you see where you got?
I was my dad. She's just watching.
Oh, gotcha.
She's enjoying watching Uncle Sam, Daddy, and Steve on the TV this morning. Well, we know, Tom, we know he came from Detroit. He was trying to figure out why the Lions versus the Tigers.
Yeah.
Because the Tigers were better at that
actually
moment.
a really good team.
Yeah, the Tigers were better at in that window.
Yeah, I mean, right.
Could have been an old English jacket kind of thing, but it was a cool jacket.
Like who rocked? I mean, if you saw Tom Selleck, it was a Tigers hat.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You saw Ice Cube in a movie, it was a Tigers hat. I mean, it's like.
They did an episode, they did an episode of Magnum PI where he went to Detroit to watch a game. And something happened, so he couldn't see them. So he's like in the stadium, ready to sit down, and then something happened, and then he runs into Whitaker and Trammell in a bar at the end.
Dude, there was an episode. I don't know if you remember this. Did you ever watch Different Strokes?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So there was an episode where Mr. Drummond was coaching a little league team, and he got Lance Parrish to come talk to the little league team. It's like Lance Parrish is the catcher. I mean, he was a good catcher, but that shows you how big the Tigers were at the time. That the Tigers catcher was on a different stroke.
I was an Orioles fan, and I was a big Lance Parrish fan, but I was a catcher. So Sam, I finally had a chance. Something that you and I talked about. It's been a little bit, but I finally had a chance to binge watch Cobra Kai. It made its way over to from YouTube to Netflix. Finally had a chance to binge watch it.
Yes,
it's legit.
It's fun. I mean, the nostalgia, the nostalgia and stuff is real fun.
Yeah, the talk is
season 3 is done. It's cut and ready to go.
So have you heard if Allie is back?
The rumor is that she is going to be back in season 3. So we'll see how that plays out. It was really fun to watch.
I heard there's a Michigan connection to Allie Mills, by the way. I can't
real life Allie Mills or the character?
The real life Allie Mills. The real life Allie Mills.
Some girlfriend, huh?
Yeah, there's the Rose Bowl is out in California. Steve Clarke. I'm just saying, can't get too specific.
Yeah. Shoot.
Gotta think of the years that movies was filmed, and
so
just like there's a connection in the Great Alaska.
I was thinking about that one too.
If you like
oh, there you go. Tim said NCIS had a Buckeye writer. They're the same concept that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you like this Cobra Kai, years ago, How I Met Your Mother did an episode that brought back Ralph Macchio and Keith Zabraka, or however you say it.
Yeah.
So brought them
1 minute
together to do a fantastic episode. And if you haven't seen it, I'd look it up. Look up the Ralph Macchio episode on How I Met Your Mother. You don't have to watch.
Have you watched Cobra Kai at all?
Not at all.
Oh, it's really good.
It's good. It's really good.
I'm still trying to get through Dark.
I watched. I mean, it's 20 episodes. Here I am on live stream.
And they're only a half hour.
They're half an hour. They fly. Grace was in school, so I had to be nearby, so I watched it. And I watched a bunch of them. It was great.
They got to bring Allie back. Got to. Have to.
Stand by. Oh, look at that in Sharpie. Stand by, gang.
2 cards. I really feel like I made it now.
Welcome back to the Sunday Countdown to Kickoff on Sports Talk 1050, WTKA The Ticket and Ticket TV. And it's great to be back with my guys, Sam Webb and Steve Clarke, and also joining us now for the final segment as we get into our picks later on. We got Madison back here as well. Before we keep going, I just wanted to quickly read the updated injury report from yesterday. Is the most important one, the last one that the teams submit to the league. So Kenny Galladay has been listed as doubtful, but as you've pointed out, he hasn't practiced in days, so more likely out. Hunter Bryant, CJ Moore, and Vitae are out. Amendola, Deshaun Hand, Okuda, Akwara, and Darryl Roberts are listed as questionable. We expect to see most of those guys in the game. On the Bears side, Robert Quinn is unlikely. He's been listed as doubtful.
Big deal.
And that's a big one for them. Ifedi, Khalil Mack, David Montgomery, Cordarrelle Patterson, Skrine, Spriggs, and Wims are all listed as questionable. So we assume we see most of those guys, if not all those guys, in the game coming up today. So here we are, guys. It's always that time as you lead into the into that first game of your season. You always make your postseason predictions. So I want to run through them for it with you guys. We'll start with the NFC North. Sam Webb.
All right. So there's every reason to go against my Lions on this game. I mean, Mitch Trubisky, I was looking at at Athlon Sports. They had a stat. I mean, you can pull out over different game spans, but they said Trubisky against the Lions has completed 70% of his passes for 1,359 yards and 11 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He made the Pro Bowl off of that alone, off of his performances against the Lions. But you know that saying, Ira, every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. They pulled me back in. Matthew Stafford, according to multiple sources that we've talked to on the show, looked fantastic in camp, chomping at the bit to get back on the football field. Was looking really, really good before he was knocked out with injury. I mean, you think about it, Stafford, 2,500 yards, 19 touchdowns in 2019 in an abbreviated campaign. I think he's at the point of his career where even without Kenny Golladay, he could raise the level of play of the guys around him enough to beat this team. Now, Mitch Trubisky might be Mitch Trubisky, against the Lions like in past years, but I think they'll do a better job of limiting him. He'll be good, but he won't be great like he's been in past matchups. I got the Lions winning this game in the home opener. Do we have to give a score, or we just have to say?
I mean, the line in the game is 3.
Yeah, so I told you the Lions will score in the 20s. I got the Lions winning this game 24-20.
I came into this in the beginning of the week really confident that the Lions would win this one. And then I looked at the matchups and I looked at the injury reports, and I'm really concerned about the Lions' right side of their offensive line with a third-round draft pick starting at right guard and your right tackle out in this one against a Bears defense that on an average day might sack Matt Stafford 4 times in the game. That could potentially increase even in this one. There is a couple of components missing from the Bears defense in this one that might make that a little bit more average to balance out. That's a really concerning thing. So I'm less confident in the Lions winning in this one just on this matchup alone, but I'm still picking the Lions not only to win, but to cover. And I'll say this game is going to be 27-24.
Madison, who you have, Chicago or Detroit?
Doesn't Detroit always give us a little bit of hope at the beginning, and then they just like rip it right away? But I'm going with the Lions. I have to go with the Lions. Come on, it's the Lions.
There you go. She's repping her Lions
I'll
like
say
Sam's repping her
23
Lions.
points for the Lions.
There you go. There you go. There you go. All right, let's go through
one of those black jerseys. I don't have one.
I got this like the first or second year Ford Field opened. Actually, I got it. It's customized. It's got my name on the back.
That's cool.
So Sam, let's go through divisions now. Who's going to win the NFC North?
I've been consistent with this. The Minnesota Vikings. I mean, even I got the Minnesota Vikings winning today. But if Steve happened to be right, because you picked the Packers, right?
No, I picked the Vikings.
Okay, cool. You did something right. And even if the Vikings were to lose today, understand that it's without Danielle Hunter on the football field. When he comes back, there may not be a better pass rushing tandem in the NFL than Danielle Hunter on one side and Yannick Ngakoue on the other side. Now, they're a little thin at corner, but they may have the best safety tandem in the NFL. That defense, I think, will be better this year. And then you got Dalvin Cook with a year established under his belt. They just need to develop a number 2 receiver, and they have some really good candidates. The Minnesota Vikings are going to win this division.
Who do you think?
Vikings. We're running out of time. So
I'll be shorter. Apologies, Steve.
You're fine.
Testy.
I actually didn't ask Madison if she wanted to pick, so we're gonna
Vikings.
So we'll just throw her in here right at the end here as it is. At the NFC South, Steve Clarke.
Cowboy. Oh, I'm sorry. South. Saints over the Bucks in a narrow range.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will win that division and will go to the Super Bowl.
She's not picking Tom Brady, so
yeah.
You going with your boy Miz?
Yeah, whatever.
She's gonna go with her boy Miz and pick the Saints. All right, in the East.
The East is going to be the Dallas Cowboys.
Drama still wins, right?
Drama and disappointment.
I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, there you go. little different. Madison.
I like that. I like that Sam and I are agreeing on.
She just
things
likes to
today.
agree with Sam on.
I do.
on
I'm
subjects.
kind of
because
pumped
they're
up
green,
about this.
and they're green. Of course, you gotta go with.
All right.
All
Fine.
right, NFC West.
Love connection. going on
Man, I'm gonna go. This is a tough one. This is the toughest pick for me. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks.
All
I
right.
like their off season. I know the 49ers coming off the Super Bowl. I'm going with the Seahawks.
I am going with the Seahawks, and then the 49ers having a little bit of a slump. I think they were fortunate to get to where they were last year. The disappointing Super Bowl didn't help either. So I'm going with the Seahawks in this one.
Seahawks.
And then you guys know there's three wild cards this year for each side. Do you have 3 wild card picks you're ready to throw in? I know Steve does.
I do.
Yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
I'm going to go with the 49ers because that's, again, a tough call out in the West. The NFC South is a tough call, so I'm going with the Bucs to make a wild card position. And the third and final slot, is it going to be the Eagles or the Packers? I'm going with the Eagles. I think they made the most improvements in the offseason compared to the Packers, who did not.
I think you just lost an invite to the W for my wife.
My wild cards, the New Orleans Saints, the San Francisco 49ers, and because the Packers are human bile on a football field, I will go with the Dallas Cowboys as the
It's
other.
also human bile on the football field, but that's besides the point. Madison, you have.
I was not prepared for this one.
All right, well, we'll get back to.
This
I'll get back to Madison on those later. AFC fellas, AFC North, Sam Webb.
I'm gonna go with the Baltimore Ravens, Mr. Weintraub.
Back in the good graces.
Second.
Another Baltimore pick, Madison.
Okay.
Everybody wants to be on my good side today. Appreciate that. I like that. All right, AFC South.
It's good. I think the South's one of the best divisions in football, probably the best division in the AFC. I'm going to go with the Colts.
So is Madison, because that's your fantasy
That's
team.
my it's stacked with Colts. I have to.
I'm gonna go with the Tennessee Titans.
All right, Tennessee for Mr. Webb there on that one. And then in the East, AFC East.
I am gonna go to the Buffalo Bills.
Wow, that would be the first time in like how many years? 15 years or something that the
Since Brady's injury, where he's lost in the ACL early on. That's the last time the Patriots have lost a division.
wow.
And you're talking about the South made me the best division in football. The worst division in football for a decade was the AFC.
Right, they had one team. Yeah.
It's just one team and everybody else. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
in the
Okay,
East.
Bills. I haven't had time to think about these.
I know I didn't throw this one at you, so it's my apologies. The AFC West.
Come on, man. Come on. You don't even have to ask me that.
Yeah, KC for everybody, because no one thinks Kansas City's going to
Bring
lose.
it up.
How about 3 wild cards, Mr. Clarke, from the AFC?
I'm going to go with the Steelers out of the North, the Titans from the South, and the big question of the day, because they actually added another playoff team. Why? I don't know.
Money, ratings, TV.
Okay, you named them all. and named the most important. So, except credibility. Credibility is now out the window. I am actually going to say the Patriots find a way to sneak in.
Ooh. I'm going to go with the Steelers, of course. I'll go with the Colts. And then,
Another team in the South?
See, I don't like the Texans. I think the Texans are gonna circle
You
the ground.
established that early on.
I'm gonna go off the board here. I'm gonna go with old John Gruden. No, give me John Gruden. Give me the Raiders.
Vegas going to the playoffs in their first year in Las Vegas.
Give me Vegas.
Put money on it.
Have you gotten as far as picking who you think is going to be in the big game at the end of the season?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Madison?
She hasn't gotten that far.
Wait,
She hasn't gotten that far.
prepared for this.
She got us on the
No.
air. That's good enough. Do
Look,
you,
I just bought myself 5 seconds of time.
That's what it is.
That's why I'm going to go with the Chiefs, and I'm going to go with, just to make Sam angry, but the Saints.
and there's Ms. celebrating in the
Yeah,
studio,
there it
giving
is.
thumbs up. Ms. is really excited about that one. All right, we'll see how it goes. You guys are all wrong, though, because Baltimore's going to the Super Bowl in the AFC. Or maybe not, but we'll see. It's going to be a really fun Sunday. I know you guys have been looking forward to watching football today. I'm really looking forward to watching football today. Put on some red zone, flip over to the Lions, and then later on the 425 game with the Saints and Tom Brady's squad as well. Should be a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun this morning. Great addition having Madison with us on the show. It's awesome to have her as a member of the team here on the Sunday Countdown at Kickoff. Of course, Sam Webb, Steve Clarke, myself, Miz, back inside the MDN studios. It's been a lot of fun this morning. And good luck to the Lions today. Enjoy your football, and we'll see everybody tomorrow morning on the Michigan Insider here on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, Ann Arbor, a Cumulus station.